9 minutes after midday, it is what now? Oh, it's a Thursday. It's Jan the 23rd. Because it's a Thursday, we like to look at technology. But it's a bit scary today, if I'm being absolutely honest. Some of it is anyway. Robot tanks on the horizon. But it's all right. They're not allowed to shoot.
Inspector Gadget.
Let's chat with our guru, Matt Porter. This music, it's just always going to be now associated with you, Matt, I have to say.
Yeah, there's a bit of a story behind that from many years ago, actually, where I was associated with it when I used to play football, but there you go.
Well, there you go. What about that? Let's start, because I know we've got a couple of things to cover off for our tech update today, Matt. These robot tanks, then. Now, of course, we've seen the footage and we've seen the films about military drones and how there is an ethical issue with a robot not being able to make judgments. And are these things really going ahead?
Well, when I was researching this, I did have a look at a clip from Sergeant Bilko with Steve Martin, where they were trialling a hover tank, which wasn't very successful. But yes, it's a very, very difficult question when you're asking a robot to make a decision for you, which will cost or potentially cost someone's life. There's been lots of discussion about it with regard to the aerial drones that are military aerial drones that are flying around, whether or not they should just be able to automatically make a kill without intervention from any kind of human being. So, yeah, it's very difficult.
Just to be clear, at the moment, military drones are controlled remotely, aren't they? They don't make a decision to fire. They have to. There's somebody back at the base with a trigger, essentially.
Somebody in a bunker somewhere, is controlling it.
But you do get the sense it's only a matter of time before autonomous military vehicles are with us.
Absolutely. This particular one that you're talking about is the Titan, which is an electric diesel hybrid engined robot tank, which can be armed with machine guns and things like that, but at the moment there is no clearance for it to do that. And I think they're using these kind of things as transportation so that they can sit behind another vehicle and carry goods, but not have to be tethered up. They're literally just following dutifully behind, which is, I think, how they should be doing our bidding. But that's basically what they'd be doing at the moment is as a kind of support role where they're carrying things. These are like mini tanks, with tracks on them. They're not quite yet bipeds walking behind, carrying them in their arms. Although there is a company that's done some amazing things with human-like robots. So it won't be long before these things are used. But normally it's the four-legged ones which are being sold at the moment to again provide assistance with going into dangerous situations like radioactive leaks and things like that.
Yes, exactly. I'm delighted to hear it's a hybrid, because I'd hate to think we were damaging the environment while we were blowing it up.
Exactly.
Now, this one they trialled one in 1985, so I'm led to believe, and am I right? It blew a portable toilet to bits by mistake.
Yeah, there was one I think in 1985 which was trialled by the US Army, which initially targeted the generals, but didn't fire. And then when it did fire, it did blow up a lavatory or a portable toilet. So it was quite funny. I mean, that's what kind of triggered my memory of that Sergeant Bilko film, because that was a travesty as well with the hover tank. So yes, it's got a bit of time to go, I think. I mean, I think with this kind of artificial intelligence, it's not sentient intelligence like a human being. We're miles and miles, years away from that. It's kind of doing repetitive jobs that human beings, because it's so repetitive, may then make mistakes. A machine wouldn't make mistakes because it's programmed just purely to do those kind of jobs.
Well, but this is a worry.
To worry about currently.
If we go back I think it was the mid-80s, the famous now story of the Russian submarine commander who received an order to fire his nuclear weapons. But the human inside him said, no, this can't be right. I'm not going to do it. Now, we all seen Wargames, of course. that was a warning as much as anything else, wasn't it? I mean, had those pieces of technology been left to AI, there'd be no planet left.
Well, exactly. Although you'd hope that there was other pieces of AI, if it ever came to it, which would intervene, so that you wouldn't have. It's all about these fail-safe systems, isn't it? And in that case, the fail-safe was someone's conscience or gut feeling was this isn't right, and not following orders.
Yeah, we need the fail-safe of the American president.
Well, yeah, that's another discussion.
I'm being flippant. All right, so robot tanks, I think there's going to come a time, Matt, you may well disagree, but I think it's going to be where the whole of the military is kind of automated and robotic.
Yes, technology, especially mechanical technology, rocket technology, and all of those kind of things are driven and have always been driven by military use, if you like. What can it be used for in a military sense? So
it kind of makes sense.
It's a shame.
Isn't it? Well,
it's a shame that all this positivity could be channeled into something to kill people.
Well, that's true. But, that is true. But isn't it often the case that a lot of modern life started in the military? A lot of what we enjoy today has started in the military. So there is an upside to it. Let's move on then. Some other bits of tech stories to capture.
Yes, there's. I think this is something that really interests me over the last few years, is that augmented reality, where that you can see a display of what's, further more information about your surroundings in front of you. And there's been this push to have kind of these goggles on and those kind of things. This particular piece of technology is a contact lens which has got a built-in screen. It's still at the development stage. I think someone from the BBC Click actually was able to go and have a look at it, but obviously not wear one. But it is basically contact lenses which have effectively a heads-up display on them, with a high-resolution display which can give you information about your environment, like if you're maps and things like that. If you're navigating, it's going to show, it's basically a kind of smartphone screen but in front of your eyes. It's a great thing.
At least that would be better than walking across the road looking at your phone. That would be better than that.
Well, yes, I think that the key here is that there are head-up displays in some cars where it projects information onto the inside of the windscreen and things like that, and it's to the point where it's not got to distract you completely from what you're doing, so you're too busy watching an episode of Neighbours in the corner of your eye, and you walk out in front of the car. Well, you see, I know.
Again, that's come from the military, the head-up display, but. And I've seen a car. My son's got a car with a head-up display, and you have to focus on it. So you can't see both things. You can't see down the road at the same time as you can see the head-up display, because your eyes, you have to focus between one or the other.
The focal length is completely different, isn't it?
So they are not without their distractions.
No, they're not. I think that, again, it's making them subtle so that they're not a distraction. So it's not something that you're staring at the whole time. It's more of a glance down and see your speed, for instance. It's a great idea having that on a heads-up display, because or that kind of simple information which is not taking your eyes directly
without you having to physically move your head or your eyes. Right? There's an add-on at the moment for some 5G thing which I don't completely understand. Is that what you're talking about? Is that the augmented reality thing that we're looking at in the next couple of years?
Augmented reality is where you hold your. One of the examples would be where you're holding your screen up to your surroundings. So if you're in London or somewhere like that, in fact, probably you could find it work in many places. But if you're in Google Maps or other mapping, I think Google Maps is the only one that does it, where you hold your screen up, your camera to a building, and it will actually tell you where what you are.
You can do it with the stars,
so if you're not
can't
entirely
you, as well?
sure.
You can do it with the stars and the planets.
So we have enough sensors inside our phones now that allow us, so it knows where it is in 3D space. So by moving the screen around, in fact, you can do it again with Google Maps in Street View. If you go into Street View on your phone and move the phone around, it'll actually move it around relative to where you are, which is quite interesting.
See, now I didn't know that. All right, I've got time for one more. Matt, what you got?
The other one was the new car, which has been announced by General Motors, which is their first foray, if you like, into driverless taxis.
Right.
So they've now done an official announcement of the I'm just trying to remember what it is. Cruise, it's called.
Okay.
So they've got a subsidiary called Cruise, and it's a driverless taxi which. Oh, just bear with me a second. It's a driverless taxi which doesn't have any steering wheel or pedals in it, and in fact, when you look at it, it doesn't look like it's got a back or a front to it either. So it's designed specifically for comfort for the passengers, because there's no driver cabin and things like that, and they've been testing this for a long while now in San Francisco, so it's had millions and millions of miles worth of road testing, and this technology will continue to improve. We're not ready yet to all jump into our own driverless cars, but in a few years' time it will be quite common. And it's a shareable thing as well, so you won't own it. It will be something you effectively hail and use, and when you finish using, someone else
will use it. Yeah. Can it go?
And keeps the cost down.
Can it go wrong and blow up a toilet?
I think if you strapped a gun to it, it might do, but I'm not sure they're planning to do that at the moment.
I see. All right. Matt Porter from Matt Porter Web Designs, our Gadget Man on the show with our Thursday update. Matt, have a good week. Thank you.
You too. Cheers.
James Hazell on BBC Radio Suffolk.